So this is episode 3 of Walking the Walk, and to set things off, I was meant to be doing my cardio this morning and I've woken up late, so we're out here getting a bit of daylight rather than doing my cardio, but it's all good. These things happen when you're trying to dial it in, so yeah, we'll get it going. So we're now 7.5 weeks out from the second photo shoot. I'll endeavour to get a shot up of how I was looking at the start of the process, and we'll get an updated shot uploaded from the photo shoot that we did last week. So some really interesting insights. I think when I reflect back on when I took myself through this process back in 2018, I was actually quite a bit lighter, I think, by this time. I think I'm holding more muscle, and whether that's just because I've dieted more successfully this time, whether I'm holding more muscle tissue, I think that's going to become more and more apparent over the next coming weeks. Although we've got the photo shoot in 7.5 weeks, I think it's so easy to get, you know, a little bit almost scared of that date. And I think it's really important that you just break it down into the processes that you need to do on a daily basis, rather than getting too, you know, worried about that end date. Just tick your daily boxes. And that's exactly what I tell my clients to do, is process over outcome. So don't look at that end goal. Yes, have one in place, but focus on the daily processes that are going to get you to that end goal. So got my shots back from Benmar Photography literally last night, and I'm so buzzing I decided to do this particular photo shoot or fitness shoot. It was just a great opportunity to celebrate, you know, how far I've come in over the last 4 to 5 weeks, but just have some fun with it, you know. Yes, we did get a couple of topless shots just to show where the composition is at the minute, but more than anything, these were just some real fun shots just to, yeah, have fun with it. And just reflecting on some now, there was some wicked shots around London. One of them was just outside the Shard. And I must say, Ben was brilliant on the day. He just, you know, made me feel comfortable and just allowed me to just enjoy it, you know. So just reflecting on some others, there's some like high, like fashion shots. And we know that nowadays, social media is a massive, you know, it's a very visual platform, and unless you've got good visuals, people just don't stop by and read. And you can have the best content out in the world, right? But if you haven't got the visuals to match it, people are just going to scroll, because we know it's an absolute sea of content nowadays. So this was a big part of it as well. I've obviously got a message that I want to get out there, and the visuals to entice people to come in and take in my information, to help out at the end of the day, because that's what I'm here to do, is very important. So a friend of mine actually gave me a ring last night, in actual fact, and he asked me, T, why are you doing this? You know, why are you putting yourself through this tough endeavour? You've done it before. You've walked the walk, as they say. Why are you doing this again? And I literally said to him, Liam, for me, I need to know what my clients are going through. I need to put myself through this process to ensure that, you know, I can be with my clients on every step of their journey. Yes, you know, where I'm taking it to might be further than them, but for me, my hard is going to be sort of equivalent to their hard, if that makes sense. So a huge part of this is making sure that I'm walking the walk, that my clients are going to walk, so I can empathise with every step of their journey. So funny enough, we also had a conversation about the fact that he's going out to work in Cyprus in a couple of weeks. He actually invited me to go out there for a week, and I would never have considered this back in 2018 when I did the first you know, fitness shoot prep, but this time I'm considering it. It might not happen, but I am considering it, because when I reflect on, let's say, Jake Foster's recent photo shoot prep, which again will pop up a picture of what he's looking like and what he achieved in his process. He had multiple socials. He went away on multiple weekends, and we just navigated the whole thing. We made sure that he had a plan when he went away, and he was able to achieve those amazing results whilst keeping a load of this stuff in. So I reflected on it, I thought, do you know what, if I was able to achieve that, that would be epic. That would be really epic. So yeah, watch this space, maybe. So what is 3T Fitness? I think it's important to reflect on this. You know, we spoke about it a little bit in episode 1, but it's really important for me to get my message out there. So 3T Fitness is a combination of years of work that I've put into health and fitness, years of working with clients, both in person and online, and achieving amazing results. And now I just want to grow things. You know, I just want to get in front of more people and just spread the message. Allow people to achieve some of the bits that, you know, I've been able to achieve in my training career. And again, like I said in episode 1, when you finish working with 3T Fitness, we want you to come away from the process and have all the tools that you need to then flourish. You know, we don't want you to ever need a coach again, unless you really want. So it is meal prep day, and the way I currently do things is I just do a huge prep of my protein. Other things like rice or potatoes or veggies, I pretty much do them on the day, but I find that having your protein sources ready to go is really, really important. Massive time saver, and just ensures that you don't sort of fall off track, especially as you're trying to start to, you know, dial things in. So if you're anything like me, you love a bit of heat and you love a bit of your seasoning. So what I generally tend to do with my meal preps is I set up, you know, 4 different containers, and I have like almost a different theme for each one. So I might have like a bit of a cayenne pepper theme for one. I might have a little bit more of a sort of a Mediterranean style herb for another. Within my lean mince, I'll do a bit more of a sort of, again, a bit of a sort of kick to it, like a bit of a kick to my mince. And then I'll put one other sort of seasoning within another one. The dry seasonings are great, they're very low calorie, you get lots of flavour for it, and you get a lot of bang for your buck, I'd say. So we just finished food prep. Took around an hour to do. Cooked some in the oven, which takes sort of 20 to 30 minutes, whilst the stove stuff takes sort of 30 minutes. Anyway, that's all done now. So the next key thing is basically letting it cool down to sort of room temperature. And I'm gonna bag it up into portions that are basically gonna set me up for the next week. And I already know, due to the amount that I've cooked, that I'm looking for roughly 130 grams of cooked chicken breast for each portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to portion that out now. So something that a lot of people struggle with is thinking that if they pre-prepare food, they're not going to enjoy it because it's not going to be as fresh. However, I find that something like these Bako foil zipper bags, which are fridge freezer proof, again, you're letting the meat sort of cool down to room temperature. A very key thing with this is then actually, when you seal the meat or the chicken, you make sure there's no air in it, because that's what's going to keep it fresh. So no air in it, push all the air out, seal it up. Then what I'll do from there is pop that into the freezer, and that's set for whenever I want it. So there you have it. It's real simple, keeps me on task. I'm never going to fall into trouble and be out of sort of, you know, ready available protein, and I'd highly recommend it. Second home. So today we're going to be working with training program number 3. Most of my workouts do start off with legs. I find that starting your session off with legs it just sets the tone. It's, you know, it's the harder part of the session, and generally if you attack this part of the session, the rest of the session follows. So as mentioned in a previous vlog, I am training full body at the minute. This is something that I wanted to try with this current phase of training, and I can confirm it's going really well. So back to today's session. Glute bridge. This exercise, as the name suggests, works on the glutes, but it also works on the hamstrings as well. And I think it's worth mentioning that ensuring that you're paying as much attention to your posterior chain as you're paying to your anterior chain. So your posterior chain is all the muscles at the back of your body, your anterior chain is all the muscles at the front of your body. And as I was saying, paying as much attention to the back of your body, and maybe even more so, is a great ideology because it's going to keep your core strong. It's basically going to set the foundation for you to build a really strong physique. So this is really something to consider. So this exercise predominantly works on the hamstring, which is the back of the leg. Big fan of this exercise because you can lock yourself in and really add some intensity to it. I think a key thing to focus on with regard to your technique is making sure that your hips stay locked down throughout and your hips don't hunch up as you as you move into the concentric, let's say. And I think that's a really key thing to focus on with this exercise.
I've decided to throw in a bit of a calf movement in today. I don't know about you, but this is definitely a muscle part that I struggle to maintain, stroke build. So it's quite important, especially when you're going through a dieting phase, that you're keeping those movements within your program. So I'm throwing it in.
We then moved into a leg press. Now this exercise really allows you to set up a really good foundation and base and create as much tension in the quadricep as possible. So this is one of my indicator lifts, and during this lift, we're really trying to lift maximum load whilst keeping things super controlled. It keeps your back nice and safe. So if you're comparing this to a back squat, the back squat, there's a lot going on. You know, the core's engaged more, so you've got to sort of more so look into your balance, your coordination, etc. Whereas the leg press allows you to really fix in and just concentrate on executing the movement through your legs whilst not having to worry about all those things I just suggested there.
So we're working with a high stance foot placement with this leg press. The main reason being, we're trying to make sure that this exercise focuses more on the hamstring, so glutes. So placing your foot higher on the board, as well as pointing the toes out a little bit, just really helps to activate the hamstrings and glutes. So just about to do set 3 of a leg press, and believe it or not, I don't tend to do 3 sets. I usually work with around 2 sets as my main compound lifts, and the reason being is my philosophy and ideology is getting top set hard and heavy as possible, and then back off a little bit on the second set and then move on. We don't need to be in the gym doing 4 and 5 sets of fluff work. Get in, lift weight, heavy, and then move on. We don't need to be in here for 2 hours.
So that is legs complete for the day. We're now moving into the upper body, and this is the part of the workout that I enjoy most. So it's almost like, if you want to compare it to a meal, I'm almost eating the veggies first, and then I'm on to the meat and the carbs after, because that's what I really enjoy. So we moved into the upper body next, and we started off with as I mentioned, a chest supported row. So this exercise predominantly works on the upper back. Again, it keeps you nice and supported. The chest is against the support. So you can really ensure that you're getting maximum tension through your upper back and get a really good contraction through there. And again, it just takes the balance and the coordination out of things, so you can keep the tension on the target muscles throughout the movement.
So we're training in a different gym today. Consistently, my gym has been fierce over the last several months. When you're training in a different gym, I think something which you could potentially utilize is throwing in several warm-up sets just to get used to the machine, because each and every machine is going to have a different sort of loading system, and if you're not used to a machine, it's quite important to get familiar with the machine before going into your top set. So it's something worth mentioning if you're training in a different gym.
We then moved into a seated low row, a cable low row. Again, this exercise predominantly works on the upper back. Hits you slightly differently to the chest supported low row machine. There's a bit more sort of margin of error in terms of movement, but there is a different type of feel. There's continuous tension throughout the back when you're using a cable, and obviously we're using a slightly different handle with this movement, which is going to target the muscle slightly differently.
So we're just doing a cable row now, mid-back focus again. Got my first set done. Now with this second set, I'm going to throw in an intensity technique. So we're going to do a drop set. We're going to work with the load, work up to sort of 10 to 12 reps, take a very short rest, drop the load, and then go again just to take the musculature to failure.
We then moved into a rear delt cable fly. Again, I'm a big fan of this movement. This exercise focuses on the back of the shoulder, which is a muscle which is often neglected if you're not careful.
We're using some straps in order to take the grip out of things, and this will allow us to really focus on the rear delt and keep things under tension throughout the movement. From there we move into a lateral raise. We're doing this today with a cable again, a cuff. Again, this allows us to keep tension on the target muscles throughout. It takes the grip out of things, as I've just previously mentioned, and it is an awesome movement to really isolate that side deltoid. To complete the session, we're moving into 2 isolations for the arms. We started off with a rope tricep extension. Again, we're using a cable for this exercise, so it keeps tension on the tricep throughout the movement. A good sort of squeeze and spread of the rope at the bottom really allows us to get a good peak contraction at the bottom of the movement, and it's one of my favorites for hitting triceps. The final exercise is a dumbbell hammer curl. And again, this exercise works on the long head of the bicep, I believe. And again, it's one of my favorite movements for biceps. It also looks pretty good in the mirror. So we've just got finished up with training at Atlas. This is a gym that I used to train at for years. It's a great gym. I mean, Fierce is home now, but every so often we'll go on a bit of a mission, and Atlas never disappoints. Great equipment, great team about the place, and a tremendous supplement store, as you can see. So just to give a bit of an overview of how this day went. We started off outside, got a bit of a walk in. We've got the food prep in for the week, which is obviously super important in order to keep me on track. I would highly recommend if this is something you've never considered. It's an absolute game changer. It gives you time back and it just keeps you prepared. Outside of that, we looked a little bit into the photo shoot that I did over with Ben Mark in London on Thursday, which was epic. If you've never considered a photo shoot, it's something, again, I would highly recommend. It pushes you to your limits, it gives you that timeline focused goal. A little bit of work left for the day. I've got some client calls. I did actually put a bit of a challenge, a Christmas challenge, out the other day, and I've had a massive surge of inquiries. So I've got a few calls booked for this evening to look into that. And that's going to take us to the end of the day.